In the center of the galaxy, there was a great place called the Galactic Council. It was a hall so large that even the biggest ships could land outside its walls. Inside that place, hundreds of alien races came together to speak about peace and rules. They called it the Table of Unity. Every race had a seat there. For hundreds of years, it kept wars away, and for 200 years, humans had been part of it. They were once feared, but they had learned to control their anger. They came with ideas, machines, medicines, and hope. The other races saw them as passionate and strange, but useful. Humanity had finally earned respect, or so they thought. Ambassador Lee Daewon sat quietly in his silver chair at the edge of the table. Around him were beings of every shape and size. Some looked like living crystals, others like tall, pale insects. Daewon had faced them all for years. He had defended Earth against countless accusations and misunderstandings. He had always believed that words were stronger than weapons. He believed that peace could be made with patience. That belief had made him one of the most respected ambassadors in the galaxy. But today, something felt different. The air in the Great Hall was tense. The council leaders whispered, and their glowing eyes watched him closely. A tall being from the Kothari race stood up. His voice echoed through the chamber. "Ambassador Daewon," he said coldly, "the council has received reports that humans have broken the non-expansion pact. You have colonized a forbidden planet in the Nara system. You know this is against the law." Daewon rose slowly, his calm face hiding the storm inside him. "That world was uninhabited," he replied softly. "It was barren with no life signs. The pact forbids taking worlds with native life. We have followed every rule." Another alien, this one with a metallic skin, slammed his hand against the table. "Lies. The scans show human ships, human bases, and weapons. You have betrayed the peace we built together." Daewon tried to argue, but the screen behind him came to life. Images of human ships over a planet filled the air. He recognized the ships, they were real. But the planet in the image wasn't the one humanity had colonized. Someone had changed the data. He could see it clearly. The stars in the background didn't match the Nara system. But the others didn't care. He felt the weight of the moment. His aide, Captain Han Mira, stood near the wall watching silently. She had been a soldier before joining the diplomatic corps. She had seen the way other races looked at humans, with fear hidden behind polite smiles. She knew this was not just about one planet. This was about power. Daewon spoke again, this time with quiet sadness. "The images are false. Someone wants you to believe we broke the pact. We did not. Humanity has kept every promise." The council leader, a creature of glowing light named Ortal, looked down at him. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "but the evidence is strong. Until we find the truth, the humans are to be suspended from trade and colonization. You may remain here, but Earth's activities will be monitored." The words struck like ice. Mira took a step forward, anger flashing in her eyes. "That's punishment before proof," she said sharply. "You can't." Daewon raised a hand to stop her. "It's all right," he whispered. "They have already decided." After the meeting ended, the humans walked back through the grand corridor. The other ambassadors moved aside as they passed, pretending not to stare. Daewon's footsteps were slow and steady. He had walked these halls for decades, believing in peace. But now he saw the truth behind the beauty, the cracks in the unity that everyone spoke of. Peace was easy when humans built the machines, shared their medicines, and kept their fleet silent. But peace was fragile when humans showed strength. Back in their small embassy room, Han Mira slammed her fist on the table. "They don't trust us," she said. "They never did. They're scared that we've grown too strong." Daewon looked at the stars through the glass window. "Fear makes allies into judges," he said. "They think they can control fear by controlling us." Mira turned to him. "What will you do?" He thought for a moment before answering. "We wait, we stay calm. If we show anger, they win. But if they push too far, they'll see what they've forgotten about humans." The next few weeks passed in silence. Human diplomats on other worlds began reporting the same thing. Alien governments canceled agreements. Cargo ships were stopped at borders. Even trade convoys carrying medicine were delayed. Every day more worlds turned their backs on Earth. Daewon sent reports to the United Earth Council, warning that isolation was growing. But the council leaders on Earth told him to stay patient. "It will pass," they said. Truth always wins, but truth did not win. Not in this galaxy. The aliens wanted someone to blame for their problems. Rising conflicts, broken treaties, shrinking resources. Humanity was the easiest target. strong enough to envy but not powerful enough to stop the lies. Yet, one night, Daewon sat alone in his quarters. The stars outside looked cold. He remembered the first time he had come to this place full of hope and dreams. Humanity had just joined the council then, bringing gifts and promises. He had watched the first peace celebrations. He had believed that together, the galaxy could build something better. But now he saw it fading away. Han Mira entered quietly. "Sir," she said, "Admiral Kim Taeyang sent a message. He says the fleets are returning from deep patrols. He's asking if this is war." Daewon closed his eyes for a moment. "Not yet," he said, "but tell him to be ready. The galaxy is testing our patience." Mira nodded, but her voice was soft when she spoke again. "They don't understand, do they?" Daewon turned to her. "Understand what?" "That humans don't start fights," she said. "But when we do, we finish them." He gave a faint smile. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that." But deep down, both of them knew it might. The walls of diplomacy were cracking. The silence from Earth grew heavier every day. For centuries, humanity had fought to prove it could belong among the stars. Now it seemed the stars had turned their backs. Outside the window, a small fleet of ships drifted past the embassy, their blue lights glowing in the darkness. They were human ships leaving the central worlds quietly, heading back toward home. And as they vanished into the black, Daewon whispered to himself, "Peace is easy to love when it costs nothing. But when it costs dignity, it dies quietly." He looked out one last time at the great city of the Galactic Council, shining like a jewel in space. He knew this was not the end, but the beginning of something much larger. Something the galaxy would soon remember, because if there was one thing that humans had never done before, it was walk away from the table. Earth's fleets moved silently through the void, returning from patrols and deep space assignments. Captain Han Mira watched the screens from the command bridge of the orbiting station above the moon. She could see the small points of light that were human ships moving steadily toward Earth. They moved with no weapons deployed, no aggressive formations, but the message was clear. Humanity was pulling back. Every fleet, every diplomat, every trade ship was being recalled. The galaxy watched, puzzled and fearful as the humans retreated. In the council halls, the alien leaders whispered among themselves. The suspension of human activity had created confusion. The smaller races were unsure what to do. The larger powers worried about the growing strength of human technology left unchecked. Many of the council members believed that humanity's silence was a sign of weakness, but others remembered the tales of humans who had resisted invasions and survived catastrophes that would have destroyed other races. Even in withdrawal, humans were unpredictable. Ambassador Lee Daewon stood at the central window of the embassy, looking down at Earth. He could see the continents in the pale blue glow of the atmosphere, cities alive with movement, fleets gathering silently at ports. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. He had always believed that diplomacy could solve any problem, that patience and reason could bridge differences between species. But now he understood something he had never faced before. Diplomacy could only work if the other side was willing to listen. Han Mira approached him, her expression serious. "The alien powers are increasing pressure," she said. "They're trying to make us respond. Envoys are arriving from multiple systems demanding explanations and compliance. Some even hint at sanctions." Daewon nodded slowly. "We will not act rashly," he said. "We have done nothing wrong. Their threats mean nothing if we do not let them control us." Meanwhile, Admiral Kim Taeyang of the Seoul Defense Command convened a meeting in the main command hall. The room was filled with officers and diplomats who had once believed the galaxy would always protect humanity. Now they faced isolation. Kim spoke with calm authority, but there was an edge in his voice that could not be hidden. "The Council believes that by cutting off our influence we will submit. They do not understand humans. They think we fear them, we do not. We will prepare our defenses, but we will not strike first." Mira listened carefully. She had served under Kim in past conflicts, and she knew his reputation. He was a master strategist known for patience and careful planning. His calm was dangerous because it hid the storm that could break at any moment. "We are ready," she said. "But what if they attack our colonies?" Kim's eyes were steady. "Then we will defend them, not with anger, but with precision. The galaxy is learning that humanity cannot be pushed without consequences. On the alien worlds, rumors spread of human withdrawal. Trade slowed to a crawl. Ships carrying medicine, food, and technology were turned away or stopped at checkpoints. Planets that once relied on human expertise found themselves struggling. The Council attempted to reassure their members that the withdrawal was temporary, but fear had already spread. Some races began stockpiling resources, others tried to build their own versions of human technology, and many sent spies to observe Earth's activity. None could replicate the efficiency or creativity of human systems. Back on Earth, Daiwin met with Mira and a few senior diplomats. They gathered in the main chamber of the embassy, a room filled with historical artifacts from humanity's first missions into space. "The galaxy will test our patience," Daiwin said quietly. "They will try to push us into action. They do not understand our strength or our will." Mira nodded, though worry lingered in her eyes. "They underestimate us. They do not see that we can endure their pressures for years and still remain united." "But what about the colonies? Some may suffer without our support." Daiwin looked at her solemnly. "We will make choices carefully. But remember, no matter what happens, humanity acts as one. If we retreat, it is not weakness. It is a lesson in patience. And if they do not respect it, they will learn the cost." For weeks, the silence of humanity created tension in the galaxy. Diplomatic missions went unanswered. Human trading posts closed. Even communication networks went dark. The Council grew frustrated, but their protests were met with nothing. No threats, no anger, just absence. And absence became a statement. Every alien race could feel it. Humanity had chosen its own path, and the galaxy had no power to force it back. Deep in orbit above Mars, Daiwin received a message from a distant human colony. It was brief, formal, and precise. "We acknowledge withdrawal. All systems are to maintain self-sufficiency. No contact with non-human authorities unless necessary for survival." The message ended with a single word: silence. It was not rude, but it was firm. The galaxy realized that this was not a temporary protest. This was a deliberate act. Mira stood beside Daiwin as he read the message. "They thought our silence meant fear," she said. "Now they will see that silence is a warning." In the council chambers, debates raged. Some believed that humanity could be brought back with careful negotiation. Others whispered of threats, of showing force to remind humans of their place. But many feared the unpredictability of humans. Even with all the Council's fleets and technology, no one could be certain how humanity would respond if provoked. For the first time in centuries, the alien powers realized they could not predict or control humans. On Earth, life continued with quiet determination. Scientists worked on new technologies, engineers built ships and structures in secret, and the people prepared for whatever the galaxy might send. There was no panic, no hasty decisions. The human race had learned to survive by careful planning, by endurance, and by understanding their own strengths. They had learned that patience could be as powerful as force, and that withdrawal could be a strategy stronger than engagement. One evening, Daiwin walked along the edge of a city on Earth, looking at the lights that marked human civilization. Mira joined him silently, and together they observed the stars. "Do you think they understand why we do this?" Mira asked. Daiwin shook his head slowly. "No, they will never understand. They see our patience as weakness. But humans are not weak. We endure, we observe, we calculate, and when the time comes, we act. Then the galaxy will know." The days turned into weeks and the weeks into months. The Council's frustration grew. Trade agreements fell apart. Economies that depended on human technology began to weaken. Colonies that had once thrived under human guidance struggled to maintain order, and still Earth did not respond. Humanity had chosen to stand apart, and the galaxy was beginning to feel the weight of that choice. Back in the embassy, Daiwin prepared reports for the United Earth Council. He wrote with clarity and caution, detailing every movement, every observation, every attempt at peaceful contact. He explained the patience of humanity, the careful calculations, the readiness to defend if necessary, and the strategy of silence. His words were not threats, they were warnings. And in each report, he reminded the Council that humanity's strength lay not just in its technology, but in its unity, its will, and its refusal to be controlled. Mira observed him, understanding the depth of what he was doing. "They think silence is weakness," she said. "But it is more dangerous than they can imagine. They will see it soon." Daiwin looked at her with a faint smile. "Let them," he said. "We will wait, and the galaxy will learn the cost of underestimating the quiet ones from Earth. And so humanity waited. Quiet, patient, strong. They did not seek revenge, nor did they provoke. They simply withdrew, letting the galaxy feel the absence, the silence, and the growing sense that the humans were not gone, but preparing. And every race in the galaxy began to understand that something had changed. The humans who had once taken their seats at the table of unity had left it, and the galaxy was watching in fear and confusion, not knowing what would come next. The council chamber was quiet that day. The halls were filled with alien ambassadors, each sitting in their ornate chairs waiting for the humans to speak. They expected an apology, a justification, some words of compromise. But when Ambassador Lee Daewon entered, he carried no documents, no explanations. He walked steadily to his chair, placed the human crest on the table, and looked around at the faces watching him. He spoke softly but clearly. "For too long we sought your approval. We followed your rules, honored your treaties, and built peace on your terms. But peace without respect is not peace. Earth will stand alone. We are withdrawing from your council. Our fleets, our trade, our diplomats will return home. This is not a protest. It is a decision. One you will not change with threats or persuasion." There was a murmur across the chamber. Some ambassadors gasped, others whispered in disbelief. They had expected arguments, not silence of this kind. No one had anticipated humans leaving the table of unity without warning, without anger, without demands. It was unheard of in the history of the council. Humans did not negotiate like this. They acted differently. They did not scream or threaten. They acted with calm certainty. Daewon turned and walked toward the exit. Behind him, the other human delegates followed, silent, steady, unshakable. The last human voice in the chamber was Mira's, quietly affirming the steps, the presence, the dignity of their withdrawal. No one tried to stop them. The council members were paralyzed, not by fear, but by surprise. They had underestimated the humans, as they always did. Across the galaxy, human colonies received the same instructions. Ports closed, trade relays went silent, communications ceased. Earth's absence was felt immediately. Many species scrambled to fill the gap, trying to replace human technology, replicate their medicine, and maintain control. But nothing worked quite as it should. Human systems were unique, built with ingenuity and adaptability. Colonies struggled to survive without the steady guidance and support of Earth. Alien engineers attempted to understand the human methods, but they failed again and again. In orbit above Luna, Captain Han Mira watched the last transmissions from the Council. She could feel the tension in the galaxy even from so far away. "They think we will come back," she said to Admiral Kim Tae-yang. "They will try to force our hand." Kim's face was calm. "Let them try. They will learn that humans do not act without reason, but when the time comes, they will see that patience can be more powerful than armies." Mira turned her gaze to the stars. The humans had withdrawn from the galaxy, but not from readiness. Fleets returned to Earth, but not to their bases. Ships were maintained in orbit, armed and trained, but not threatening. They were a silent warning. The galaxy felt it. Every ambassador, every military officer, every political leader sensed that something had shifted. Humans had left the table, and with their absence came uncertainty, fear, and confusion. Ambassador Daewon retired to his quarters that evening, tired but resolute. He looked down at Earth through the large window, its continents glowing softly in the night. He could feel the weight of responsibility, the knowledge that every choice made here could ripple across the stars. But he also felt peace. Humanity had acted with dignity, with patience, and with strength. They were not weak, and they would not be bullied. Mira joined him, leaning against the wall quietly. "Do you think they understand why we did this?" she asked. Daewon shook his head. "They will not understand. Humans are not predictable. They cannot calculate our patience or our resolve. That is why our absence is so powerful. They have no control over it. No one does." For months, the galaxy adjusted to the absence of humanity. Economies strained without human trade. Ships powered by human technology failed. Medical facilities that had relied on human research struggled to maintain efficiency. Some worlds panicked, attempting to create their own solutions, but nothing matched human ingenuity. The Council tried to mediate, sending envoys to offer negotiations, but all were met with silence. The humans did not respond. They had chosen their path. Back on Earth, scientists, engineers, and strategists worked tirelessly. They upgraded fleets, created new technologies, and prepared for any eventuality. The world did not panic. Instead, it thrived in quiet, methodical work. Humanity had learned to endure, to prepare, and to act with purpose. This was not isolation out of fear, it was strategy. And every human knew it. Ambassador Daewon wrote reports to the United Earth Council, carefully documenting the withdrawal, the state of the fleets, and the potential threats from alien powers. He explained that humanity's strength lay not only in its military power, but in its unity, patience, and intelligence. "We are not absent because we fear," he wrote. "We are absent because we choose our battles carefully." "The galaxy will learn the cost of underestimating us." Mira stood beside him during one long night. "They will not listen until they feel the consequences," she said. Daewon nodded. "Let them. We have always acted with reason and always will. But the galaxy cannot force respect. It must be earned, and humans will no longer wait for permission." As the months turned into a year, human withdrawal continued. The Council grew frustrated, then anxious. Alien powers tried to pressure Earth, sending threats, spies, and propaganda. But nothing broke the human resolve. Each attempt to provoke a response only showed the galaxy the discipline and strategy of humanity. Even in absence, humans were present, shaping events without speaking, acting, or engaging. The galaxy had forgotten how to respect them, but it was beginning to remember. On the moon, Daewon stood watching the horizon, lights from human cities shimmering below. Mira approached silently, her expression serious. "Do you think they understand now?" she asked. Daewon smiled faintly. "They will understand soon enough. Humans are not weak. Silence is not absence. Patience is not submission. We have left the table, and now they will learn that leaving does not mean defeat." And so humanity remained, calm, strong, and ready. They had left the table, and the galaxy watched in fear. The humans had chosen their own path, one of dignity, strategy, and quiet power. The alien races learned that absence could speak louder than words, that withdrawal could be a message more powerful than threats, and that humans, even when unseen, were never to be underestimated. Months passed since humanity had withdrawn from the Council. The silence of Earth became a shadow over the galaxy. Alien powers who had once relied on human technology and expertise struggled to keep systems running. Machines failed without human oversight. Medicine supplies dwindled and trade networks collapsed. Planets that had prospered under human guidance now faced shortages and unrest. The galaxy was learning what it meant to operate without humans, and the lessons were harsh. On Earth, Ambassador Lee Daewon watched the news feeds from distant colonies. He observed carefully the struggles, the shortages, and the confusion among the alien worlds. Each report confirmed the calculations he had made months ago. Humanity had chosen patience, but the galaxy was feeling the consequences of their absence. He met with Captain Han Mira and Admiral Kim Taeyang to discuss the situation. "The Council is growing desperate," Mira said, pointing at a display showing conflicts and shortages in several sectors. "They thought our withdrawal would be temporary. They underestimated how much the galaxy depends on us." Kim nodded. "They are realizing now that human presence was more than just diplomacy. Our influence was stabilizing systems, managing technology, and keeping peace. Without us, everything is vulnerable." Daewon considered the reports. "We are not here to punish them. We are here to protect ourselves. But the galaxy must understand the cost of pushing humans beyond reason. Our patience is not weakness. It is strategy." In orbit above Earth, fleets of human ships moved with quiet precision. They were not aggressive, but every vessel was ready. Soldiers trained, engineers maintained weapons and systems, and diplomats observed the galaxy silently. Earth prepared for any action, though no one intended to strike unless provoked. The humans had withdrawn, but they had not abandoned readiness. Back in the Council, debate raged. Some members argued for reconciliation, claiming that human withdrawal was harmful to all. Others feared that pressing too hard could provoke retaliation. Many had underestimated humanity's patience and were beginning to fear it. The absence of humans from the table of unity had created instability and confusion that no one could fix. No technology, no fleets, no alliance could replace the unique combination of ingenuity, discipline, and unity that humans possessed. On a distant colony, Commander Park Jisoo worked with local leaders to maintain order. The colony had depended on human engineers and trade. Now, without Earth's guidance, they faced shortages and disruptions. Park coordinated repairs and redistributed resources, but the challenges were constant. He understood that humanity's withdrawal was deliberate, but he also knew that it tested the resilience of every settlement and system. Survival required careful planning, patience, and cooperation, the same qualities humans had always used to succeed. Meanwhile, Daewon sent another report to the United Earth Council. He wrote about the galaxy's reactions, the failures of alien powers to maintain stability, and the dangers of underestimating humanity's patience. "They do not understand us," he wrote. "They see absence as weakness, but humans endure. We watch, we calculate, and when necessary, we act. Our silence is a lesson they must learn. The galaxy will feel the consequences of pushing humans too far." Han Mira joined him as he finished the report. "Do you think they will ever understand?" she asked. Daewon shook his head slowly. "Some will. Others will learn too late. Humanity does not seek conflict, but we will defend what is ours. Patience is not surrender. Silence is not fear. The galaxy must remember that." As the months stretched into a year, human withdrawal began to reshape the galaxy. Economies weakened, alliances faltered, and tensions rose. The Council's authority diminished as member states struggled to adapt. The absence of human guidance exposed weaknesses in planning, technology, and coordination. Even the largest and most powerful alien fleets could not manage the systems humans had once controlled with ease. On Earth, scientists worked on new technologies. Engineers built advanced ships, and military leaders trained soldiers for any eventuality. Humanity did not act rashly. They prepared with precision and discipline. Every step was measured, every decision deliberate. The galaxy did not see it, but Earth was ready. The humans had learned to endure, to observe, and to prepare, and they would not be forced into action by threats or fear. Daewon often walked through the cities at night, observing the life below. People worked, studied, and trained. Humanity had not stopped. They had withdrawn from the galaxy, yes, but they had not paused. Their patience was a weapon, silent and precise, and the galaxy was beginning to feel its weight. Mira stood beside him on one such walk. "They are testing us," she said. "They will try to provoke a reaction, but we will not give them one." Daewon nodded. "We do not act out of anger. We act out of necessity. The galaxy has forgotten what humans are capable of, and it will remember. One day, when they think we are gone, they will learn that absence is as powerful as presence." The months continued with the same pattern. Earth watched silently. Human colonies managed themselves with minimal guidance, still loyal, still coordinated. Alien powers scrambled to maintain control over systems that humans had quietly stabilized for centuries. The Council realized that they had underestimated humanity's patience, resilience, and planning. They feared that pushing humans further might force a response they could not control. In the quiet of the moon's orbit, Daewon and Mira observed the galaxy's struggles. "They will come to understand eventually," Mira said. Daewon looked out at Earth, bathed in the soft light of the sun. "Yes," he said, "but perhaps too late. Humanity is patient, but patience has limits. We endure, we prepare, and when necessary, we act. The galaxy will learn the cost of ignoring that truth." And so Earth remained silent, strong, and ready. Humanity had withdrawn from the galaxy, but their influence continued to ripple through the stars. The absence of humans became a force of its own, shaping events, teaching lessons, and reminding all who watched that patience and preparation could be as powerful as fleets and weapons. The Council, the colonies, the alien powers all felt the weight of humanity's quiet presence. They had left the table, and the galaxy would never forget. A year had passed since humanity had withdrawn from the Galactic Council. The silence of Earth had stretched across the stars, and the galaxy had begun to feel the consequences. Trade networks were disrupted, colonies struggled to maintain order, and alien powers scrambled to fill the gaps left by humans. Yet Earth remained quiet, its fleets in orbit, its diplomats absent, its people calm but prepared. Then came the first strike. It was small and sudden. A coalition of alien forces attempted to pressure one of the human colonies near Proxima Centauri. They expected fear or negotiation. Instead, they found silence. The outpost's defenses did not react at first, leading the attackers to believe it was undefended. But within hours, human fleets arrived. Ships moved with precision, their weapon systems calibrated perfectly. No cities were destroyed, no civilians harmed. The attack was neutralized, the coalition disabled, and the aliens fled in confusion. They had underestimated humanity's patience and precision. On Earth, Ambassador Lee Daewon watched the reports from the control room. Captain Han Mira and Admiral Kim Taeyang stood beside him. They expected fear, Mira said, watching the enemy fleet retreat. They will not forget this, Daewon nodded. We do not fight to conquer. We act to protect, to teach the galaxy a lesson in patience and respect. They have pushed too far, and now they will learn the consequences. The strike was only the beginning. Across the stars, human fleets moved with unmatched coordination. Systems that had been destabilized by the absence of Earth's influence were reinforced. Supply lines were secured. Communication relays were repaired. The galaxy watched in terror as the humans who had once quietly withdrawn revealed the depth of their power. Alien leaders attempted to respond with force. Entire fleets converged on human-controlled areas, expecting resistance or negotiation. But human forces did not seek battle for pride or vengeance. They disabled weapons, cut supply lines, and took control of key positions without unnecessary destruction. Precision, strategy, and patience were the tools of this campaign. The galaxy was unprepared for a human response that was neither reckless nor cruel, but perfectly executed. On one council world, Ambassador Ortal watched the events unfold on massive holographic displays. He had once spoken dismissively of humans, believing that their withdrawal was weakness. Now he realized that humans were unlike any other species he had encountered. Their patience was not fear. Their silence was not submission. And their unity, their ability to act as one, was terrifying. The Council had never faced a threat like this, because this was not a threat in the usual sense. It was a reminder, a lesson, and a warning. Back on Earth, Daewon received messages from colonies reporting stability restored by human intervention. He compiled the data, sending a report to the United Earth Council. We sought peace, he wrote, but peace cannot exist without respect. The galaxy mistook our silence for submission. Now they will remember why the humans were feared and respected. We have acted to restore balance, not to dominate. Let this be a lesson. Do not underestimate the quiet ones from Earth. Captain Mira watched the reports of fleets moving silently, disabling threats, and ensuring the safety of human colonies. They thought they could push us into action, she said, her voice quiet. They were wrong, and now they know the cost. Admiral Kim Taeyang looked out at the stars, steady as always. This was never about revenge, he said. It was about respect. The galaxy will learn it, one system at a time. As the campaign continued, alien powers began to retreat, realizing that humanity's patience was not weakness and that provocation could lead to consequences they could not control. Communication from the Council became cautious, negotiations slow and deliberate. They understood that humans had chosen their battles wisely, and that any misstep could provoke a response that would not be easily contained. Daewon stood in the observation deck of Earth's capital ship, looking at the galaxy through reinforced glass. Stars shimmered with distant activity. We have shown restraint, he said to Mira. We act only when necessary. The galaxy must understand that our silence is strategic. Our patience is deliberate, and when we do act, it is precise and unavoidable. Mira nodded, understanding the weight of their choices. They will remember this, she said. Long after the Council is gone, the story of humanity will remain. They will remember that humans do not act lightly, but when we do, the results are unmistakable. For the humans, the purpose was never conquest. It was to teach the galaxy that respect could not be assumed, that patience was a strength, and that silence could be as powerful as fleets and weapons. Humanity had withdrawn from the table of unity, but in doing so they had proven their place among the stars. The galaxy had watched, it had tested, and it had learned. When the campaign ended, humanity stood alone, not because they were isolated, but because they chose to be. They had defended their colonies, restored balance, and shown that patience, strategy, and unity were forces to be reckoned with. Ambassador Daewon sent one final message across the galaxy. We sought peace. You mistook it for submission. Now you will remember why the galaxy once feared the quiet ones from Earth. The table of unity remained empty where humanity once sat. And across the stars, every empire, every council, and every colony remembered the lesson. Peace is only strong when built on respect, not fear. And humanity, in its silence and patience, had reminded the galaxy that to be underestimated was a risk no one should take.